Welcome back, viewers, to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio, that is I, where no God is required for a life of love, joy, peace, fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in life, and that good life is one guided by reason and motivated by love. A good topic today. I'm going to just chill out, relax today, and talk about why I believe and know. We just talked about belief and versus knowledge. Why I believe and actually know why Christians hold on to their beliefs, and especially church. Why do they attend church? Why do believers find it so challenging and difficult to let go of the concept of meeting with other believers on Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings? What I'm finding out as I go out on the weekends with my activism is the mainstream churches, the churches like your Baptist churches, Episcopal, Presbyterian, Lutherans, and so forth, the Protestant mainstream denominations, and some Catholic churches as well. I see them losing ground. I see them losing church members and slowly dying. But that's not always true with all the churches. I know that Christianity is slowly on the decline in America. Yay! I find that we are slowly catching Western Europe. I find that these other societies that are ahead of us with education, rationality, and reason, and less religion, are far ahead of us. But we're getting there. But I do find something else to be true, that megachurches, these large independent churches, most of them are not denominational, are actually gaining church attendance, gaining numbers. Their attendance seems to increase. And I think there are some reasons for that. And there are many people that hold on to this. And I'm going to go over these reasons why I believe people are just holding on to church attendance. I really think that, and know, that these mega churches offer all the basic human needs. I've talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs before. I've done a study on this, and I've done research on Abraham Maslow's teachings. I find it fascinating. Psychology, brain science, and so forth, and I'm just skimming the surface. But I like to read and study on these things, why people believe what they do and so forth, and human behavior is fascinating. Excuse me. But these mega churches, as I go and I attend these churches and talk to people in the auditoriums, in the lobby, in the halls of the churches, and in the parking lot, I ask many questions. And I find that these churches have learned to change with the times. And I talked to a couple ladies in the parking lot of a big Baptist church, a couple months ago. And I said, wow, this is like the evolution of God. There's a book, very good book out there about the evolution of God. I said, it's interesting to know that you large churches are changing your technique, how to attract people to your church. And as technology and science changes and humanity continues to progress with more knowledge and less religion, these big mega churches have found that they can adapt and stay with the times to find and make their churches appealing to human nature. I do believe that these mega churches do provide the basics for human needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course, talks about the physical, the safety, love, belonging, and esteem, and all the different needs, Need deprivation causes drive, which results in behavior, right? Our behavior changes to meet the next need. I had a need to drink, and my behavior changed. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a beautiful thing because we all have to meet our basic needs, number one, until we get into that self-actualization area, the levels 5 and up, where we mature into helping other people rather than just meeting our own personal needs. So churches have really been good at this. I must admit, the mega churches are meeting these needs. So I begin to tell these different individuals in these churches that it's almost like this God of the Bible, which I don't believe in, but is evolving, right? Right behind humanity and modernity, trying to stay modern, right? So I went into a very large mega church a few weeks ago, and they had like a coffee shop, a donut shop in there. They had like a restaurant. They had big screen TVs. They had everything to tickle all the things that people want and need, all the basic needs. So the two women greeters, began to approach me, and we had some good talk, and I began to ask them questions. I said, wow, ladies, I said, back in my day, I said, I would walk in church and we didn't have big screen TVs. We didn't have rock and roll music and professional musicians and professional singers on the stage and lights flashing on and off. It's almost like a rock concert. We didn't have this. We just walked in. We were hardcore, man. My buddies and I, we'd walk in with our Bibles, and we were all young preachers, and we would quote the scripture and pray for hours and fast and preach the gospel. And I said, man, I come into churches now, and wow, what a difference. And so I began to ask these women questions like I love to do. Should have got a video of this. It would be entertaining, but I didn't. So I asked them individually. I said, what is so appealing about this church? Why do you attend and continue to attend this particular gigantic megachurch? So here's what they basically both told me. Number one, very interesting to know. She said, well, number one, look at the people. They're all so nice. The people are so friendly. They're so loving. They're so nice. I went, hey, cool. I said, that's awesome. Nice people. I like nice people too. Number two reason why she goes to this particular megachurch. Great music. She said, listen to the music. It's freaking awesome. She said it. She goes, it's freaking awesome. And the church service was going on while we were out in the lobby. And there were people buying donuts, eating there in the little cafe, buying coffee, just having fun with their friends, just being human is what I like to tell Christians. It's not exclusively religious, it's being human. We secular atheists and humanists do the same thing. So she said, listen to the music. So they had a big screen TV up right there of the actual service in the auditorium. And they had the singers out there and the music, and they were rocking and rolling for Jesus. And I said, wow, good music. They said, yeah, that's another reason I come to this church. I said, give me some other reasons. What causes you to continually attend this church? Number three, lots of activities. She said there are tons of activities. We as single women have women's groups. We have activities during the weekends. We have weeknight activities and home Bible studies. And we go see movies together. We go to dinner together. So she started talking about all the beautiful things of being human, having interactions and relationships with other people, as if this is exclusively Christian. Wink, wink. It's not. So I said, what else is appealing and holds you to this church? This was pretty interesting. She said, the other lady said, we have a cool and hip preacher. Wow, one of the main reasons they go to that church is because their preacher is cool and hip. And I kid you not, when she said that, on the big screen TV, there was the preacher beginning his sermon. And I believe he said something like, isn't Jesus cool? Isn't Jesus cool? So he was a cool and hip preacher. So I said, is there anything else, my dear friends, my new friends, that you find appealing about this particular church other than nice people, which is great, great music, I'm all into that, cool, great music, lots of activities, which is good, people, we need activities, and number four, cool hip preacher. What else? And they ended it. That was it. Now, keep in mind, here they are going to a building where believers come together and worship this transcendent, invisible sentient, almighty, all-powerful deity they call the Christian God. Not once did they mention anything supernatural. And I was really quite taken that they did not mention anything to do like I would have mentioned years ago. Well, I'm here because Jesus brought me here. Or I'm here because the presence of the Lord is here in this church. I used to say that. And many Christians would say that. So they didn't say anything about the presence of God or Jesus or the Bible. So I did say, well, it's interesting that you never mention God or Jesus or the Holy Spirit. And they both said, oh, yeah. Well, he's here too, after I mentioned it. The basic needs are met with most people when they attend these churches. They have friendships. Their physical needs are met. If they're serving coffee, they're serving food, they have fellowship. They feel safe. There's safety in numbers. These large megachurches do attract families and many individuals. There's love there. Human love. I just wrote a song about that. Human love. Is it real, truth, or fallacy? Religion claims it comes from God. I say it's innate in our genes. That's the first verse. I'm not a singer, so I'm definitely not going to sing it to you. I'm a songwriter and piano player. So any of you atheists out there that want to be my singer, I got tons of songs on atheism and humanism and secularism out there. So love, yeah, sure, these churches bring love. But humans do that. Love is not a Christian virtue only. It's human. We know how to love each other. Belonging. They feel like they belong to a group. We are a tribalistic species. We were hunter-gatherers. We went from hunter-gatherer to little groups and towns and cities and states and so forth. We can read and study that in science and anthropology and sociology. So we are a social species. Of course, you're going to feel that belonging. You're going to feel that security and that esteem. All Maslow's hierarchy of needs are met when you go to these big churches, groups of people. And believe it or not, got to give some churches a little credit on this one. They do teach people how to get out of themselves into the level of self-actualization, helping other people, getting your mind off yourself. But my dear Christian friends that are viewing, humanism teaches the same thing. We all know people from all different philosophies, different religions, or no religions like we humanists and atheists, we all know that when we get our mind off of our own little world, our own basic needs, and we think about the needs of others, it makes us happy. It's called reciprocation, reciprocal altruism. It does bring joy and happiness when we help people in need. I can say that when we go out with the Atheist Helping the Homeless, the Austin Humanist at Work groups, and other people, all the different wonderful secular humanist atheist groups out there around the country, around the world, that do wonderful things to help the needy. We do enter that realm of self-actualization as well. It's just human. So yeah, churches actually teach this as well, to get out there and to help your fellow man. But the problem is, you're giving credit, my dear Christian friends, to your God. And when we go out and feed the homeless and do good deeds, to be honest with you, it does bother me, because the Christian God and religion gets the credit for goodness. I like to say the equation would be, in many religious people's minds, that God equals goodness. Atheist equals bad. Good comes from God. Bad comes from atheist. And to this day, when I wear my shirt like this, when we go under the bridge, my buddies and I, and we pass out bananas and oranges, toothpaste and toothbrushes on our own, and also with the other atheist groups and other secular groups, it's very confusing to many believers that we actually care for other people. That's why I do this. I want everybody to know we're human, just like you, my dear Christian friends. Why do believers hold on to church? Well, we've gone over a lot of it already. Here's something else, which is a pet peeve of mine: morality. 57% of Americans. This one's going to make me cry. I can't believe this. But 50% of Americans actually believe that in order to be moral, in order to be a good person, you must believe in God. 57% of people, Americans, believe this. Now, I would have to say this is probably a truism, because my experience all the time when I talk to people, and I tell them I'm an atheist, it comes up, the subject of morality, almost more than anything else. Now, we know the basics of morality. Come on, 3 basics of morality: culture, nature, and reason. I mean, come on. Study moral philosophy. Study science. It explains why we're so moral, why we want to be good to other people. So we get that from our culture, our upbringing, like I've discussed in our last episode. We learn these things from our parents. Some of it is genetic. Some of it is nurturing and nature. We have it as a social species. And, of course, using reason, rational morality over religious morality. So we've talked about this before in greater depth in previous episodes. So I think that is one of the main reasons why believers continue to go to church, because they feel that morality comes from going to church and listening to the Bible and listening to the preacher. And I end with this. Another reason that many Christians and many believers attend church and find it very difficult to leave and let go of going to church, even if they have doubts and fears. And those are the people I'm after. Well, this one I get all the time. You're afraid of death, and you're afraid of hell. Talked to a man the other day. We met for breakfast, one of these little Bible studies. Very strong Christian, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And I asked him, I say, why? Why do you have to believe in a God? And of course, I said, as I've already explained to you, my dear Christian friend, I said, why do I need a God if I already have love and joy and peace, fulfillment, meaning, purpose in life, and I don't believe in hell or heaven? Far from perfect, but I do exemplify, like many other secular humanist atheists, virtues, because these are human. They're not religious, okay? And all he could say was, well, I don't want to go to hell. And I said, you know what, my dear friend, my new Christian friend, I think that if you let go of God belief, you would be just fine. You're doing good. You're a good person, and so forth. So yeah, the fear of death and hell is something that really holds people to this concept of God, this concept of going to church. There are those of us that have been freed from that fear. I could tell you, honestly, I really don't fear death. I'm not afraid of it. I'm afraid of the type of death. I don't want to suffer. Thankfully, when my big brother died back in April of 2016, it was cardiac arrest, but he was in his sleep and there was no pain. So I'm thankful for that. I'm happy that he didn't have to suffer. I wish we could all die that way. I'll say one more thing. I offended a Christian lady not too long ago who's a client of mine. And I try not to discuss my unbelief with my clients unless they're fellow atheists. But one of my Christian clients was upset at me, and so she told me, David, we need to talk. I said, okay. I said, what's going on? She said, well, I'm offended. I said, okay, how did I offend you? She goes, well, it's about your atheism. I said, well, I never told you I was an atheist. She goes, well, my friend told me you were, and you made a comment a few weeks ago during training that all humans are the same, basically a homogeneous species. We're all very similar. And you made a comment, David, that we're all the same and we all die. I went, yeah, that's true. And I explained to her again, basically what I meant was, whether you're a Muslim, a Hindu, a Jew, a Christian, or an atheist, we all need the basic needs. We all require love and acceptance. We all like to be around other people because we're social. We all share the same things and needs. And we all die. The end of life is defined by the cessation of brain activity, right? We're all going to die. That's all I said. I said nothing about immortality, heaven or hell. And she said, that offended me because I believe in heaven. Well, so I said, okay, let's not discuss God or government or politics. Of course, I don't do that with her anymore. So that offended her that I discussed and made a comment that we all die. But she went on to tell me that she does fear death. And that's one of the main reasons that she holds on to belief and goes to church. She wants to make sure that she doesn't burn in hell forever. She wants to trust her Lord and Savior Jesus for that. So these are different reasons that I have found why believers hold on to church attendance. Boggles my mind, because you can have all these needs met outside of church, because basically all the needs that they meet in these particular mega churches are nothing less and nothing more than just human nature. You can find love, you can find fulfillment and purpose and meaning in life outside of church. Many of us have. But many of you believers are hard to let go. It's hard for you to let go of these churches. And face it, do I miss church? No. If I want to be around other people, there are many meetup groups. There are many social activities for people all around now. We have the internet. We have different functions for people with different hobbies, with different interests and desires, and again, meetup groups. So there are different things for we that are non-believers to attend and have a social network. So again, these are the things, and I would again ask my atheist friends here, this is nothing new to you, but I would like you to share some of these basic videos share these videos with some of your believing friends, those that do have questions and doubts, and ask them to watch these series of episodes that I present. I keep them nice and short. I try to, simple and comprehensible, and just to get these people to think and let them know there is an alternative from religion and God belief. All right, I'm finished. So have a wonderful day. This is David Oliverio, the Preaching Humanist. We will talk to you next week. Have a good day.